The story of Cameron Kent is a book of many chapters. The son of an Air Force general, Cameron grew up in a military neighborhood in Alexandria, Virginia, in a household that watched either Walter Cronkite or Huntley Brinkley every night. During the Vietnam War, news reports from correspondents like Dan Rather, Morley Safer, and Garrick Utley became vitally important to his entire neighborhood. Cameron began to imagine that he could do the same thing and decided he wanted to be a journalist. This career path started as the sports editor of Cameron's high school newspaper, while also covering high school sports for the Mount Vernon Lee News and the Alexandria Gazette. He even published his own weekly football magazine, sold in his high school hallways to raise money for the Key Club. During college at Wake Forest, Cameron covered sports for the Old Gold and Black student newspaper and wrote articles for the university's sports information department. He got his first real taste of broadcast journalism working summers as a copywriter for WAVA All News Radio in Arlington, Virginia, under the guidance of then news director Carl Castle. Cameron's big break came straight out of college when in 1979 he began working as a reporter at WXII TV in Winston-Salem.
I'd like to file a missing persons report. He's wearing a red suit, he's got a long white beard. He has a shiny red nose and a stomach that shakes like a bowl full of jelly.
All fun aside, it was Cameron's reporting on the November 3rd event that year, the Greensboro Massacre, that made Triad viewers take notice. In 1 year, he would be promoted to Greensboro Bureau Chief. But another event, reporting on the 1981 Greater Greensboro Open, would lead Cameron toward the next chapter of his career, being named the sports director at WXII. His award-winning one-on-one series showed that Cameron was not afraid to throw everything into his work, suffering a few broken ribs along the way. The next chapter of this story takes a turn that even local newspapers would report. In 1988, Cameron made the move to Los Angeles, not as a journalist, but as a screenwriter, writing scripts for 4 produced movies. And by 1994, he was also a published author and a husband and father of 2 children.
If you have lived in the Triad for a while, then you know the name Cameron Kent. How does it feel to be back here?
It feels like coming home.
Ready for a new chapter, Cameron returned to Winston-Salem. And it was during those next 23 years that he would leave his most enduring legacy. Cameron worked tirelessly, anchoring the news, stepping away from the desk to interview governors, senators, and even a president. Going on location to cover natural disasters like Hurricane Arthur along the North Carolina coast and tornado damage in local communities. But one cannot tell Cameron's story without talking about his year-round commitment to his community. Viewers came to associate Cameron Kent with so many of WXII's community partners, like the March of Dimes, Second Harvest Food Bank, and Habitat for Humanity. Whether it was a live shot, emceeing an event, pushing a shopping cart to collect food, helping the homeless, or grabbing a hammer and building a house, Cameron was always willing to help. His work with Winston-Salem's Crime Stoppers program became an integral part of making it one of the best in the country. But closest to his heart were the stories he covered about local veterans, the men and women who have fought for our freedom. He recalls covering the many flights of honor as some of the best reporting days of his life.
And what does it mean to you, Talmadge, to get in the world? It means the world.
And in 2002, his reporting on the Pentagon after 9/11, taking his parents back to the place where they met and worked for 22 years, earned him an Emmy Award. And although he retired from WXII in 2016, the story of Cameron Kent is far from over. Not long after retiring, he was inducted into the NCAB Hall of Fame. He's competed in the Boston Marathon, explored the Amazon, beaten Michael Jordan in golf, and run with the Bulls in Spain. And his writing of both novels and songs continues, making us all wonder, what will he do next? I guess we'll just have to wait for that next chapter to be written.